I go to very regularly. I already have a relationship with them. I could possibly use AI to help them augment their business, like maybe attract new customers with better advertising or marketing. That's one example.
Okay. Well, yes. Yeah, I'm looking for AI that can help me structure user data on our app, and I haven't really come up with anyone. You know, as people are using the app, and you really want to kind of structure the data and know where more opportunities are.
Okay. So do you have a tool now to use for that?
No, I don't even know much about it, so I'm still thinking.
So why not just ask ChatGPT? Just state this thing as you have stated and ask it to give you an AI tool to solve. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Less time on admin and more time on strategies.
Less time on admin and more time on strategy future. So which AI tool will you use? Okay. So again, the same thing with him. You have ChatGPT now.
Yeah.
So say, well, my job is this, right? What tool can I use to reduce my administrative work and increase my strategy? Okay, one more person. Yes.
So, currently I was thinking about the younger people, like the young black people in the UK, how they grow up to either become like they smoke and they do a lot of stuff, and after the whole investment and the parents, I just noticed this trend, I want to work on what do they watch and how can we accept those things they watch, replace them with things they can
That's an NGO, right?
Yeah. So replace them with things they can like for their day-to-day in such a way that it replaces, because what I notice is that when they watch these guys, they don't just watch them for entertainment, let's say rappers and stuff, they want to become like them. So I'm working on what can I do to get the data of what they watch and how many times they spend on all of these platforms without invading their privacy, so that one can create, either content or platforms that will become alternative to those things, and they will still be entertained, but of course.
So do you have an AI tools for that?
Currently, I'm still, because I use Canva a lot, but I'm still working with ChatGPT.
Canva can do.
So
But just ask ChatGPT the same question and ask it to recommend a tool for you, right? Because I can assure you there are tools that can do that.
Yeah.
Right. So because sometimes you don't need to reinvent the wheel. If there's already a tool, particularly if the tool has an API. Do you see what I'm saying? You just integrate the API of that. So of course you brand it in your own app name or website name. Nobody knows which. I mean, for example, ChatGPT is an open source. I can literally build a new app that is solving problem, but you don't know that it's still ChatGPT, that I'm using, that is powering, and it will give you. But of course, when you come to the interface, the UI UX, everything looks like I've created. I'm a genius. I've created my own, write my own version of XYZ. But in reality, I'm still having to leverage. Does this make sense to you?
Yeah.
So that can be done. So the future belongs to AI-ready businesses. Artificial intelligence is not replacing human; it's what? Empowering them. It gives business leaders the power to think bigger, act faster, and scale smarter. The future of business is intelligence-driven. Those who harness AI today will define the industries of tomorrow, right? This, for those of you who follow me on real estate, this is my last real estate event for the year, and it's November 15th, and I encourage you, you can register and be part of it. You can join globally. Those in the US can join physically. That's something you can attend from me. We are having a corporate leadership retreat in Kenya. So 23rd to 27th. I think a lot of you could use a vacation that is not just fun, but you're learning and you're connecting with a lot of really amazing people. So I want to recommend it for you. So you can come for just this one alone. We can also add the Singapore to it that involve amazing people. In fact, if you see the quality of people already registered, these are amazing people that can be all your business partners. People are coming from all over the world. So you can choose to attend both or just choose to attend one. Depends on your pocket. Okay? I promise you it's going to be one of those best life-changing opportunities because many people keep asking, I want mentorship. But sometimes it's really how you best start mentorship because you are with me for 5-6 days. You know, it's not irregular, come for 2 hours, 3 hours, sleeping in the same place, eating the same breakfast together, and it helps. There's nothing that beats it. The ideas that usually comes from such meetings, the fact that you also mentally relax, you are more productive. I say this to people, you see, sometimes not what you learn, it's where you learn. Right? Son of the Prophet was with me last weekend when we took a private jet to tour how many states?
We did 4 states that day.
Yeah, so 4 states in one day. And that's why I had to do some mentorship session inside the private jet, you know. And he's here to tell you how was it?
Well, it was good. It was I mean, that was my first time actually in a PJ, so I mean, it was still part of it. We had a lot of session. Aside from even all we spoke about, you know, like they say, it's better to cry in a Bentley than in a small car. So I'm not saying I cried inside, but you know, there was like amazing stuff, the food, the ambience, and a lot that we learned. And there was something that Dr. Stephen Akintayo is very good at doing is he will let you explore with him. Then when you come back inside, he asks you, what did you learn? And every single person in that private jet must say what they have learned. You know, either close to him or one of the things he has said. I get to see the lifestyle. Lifestyle with billionaire. Okay. I mean, it inspires me such that I'm able to have that one-on-one, you know, close conversation to be able to speak and see his life from the lens of his own eyes, not just from my own lens. I'm not saying this because you are here, sir, to be honest. But no, they don't need to see me. Don't worry. Okay, I'm not saying this because Dr. Stephen Akintayo is here. Being under his mentorship, I think for me it's a great privilege and a rare one, to be honest. A lot of the mentees have every privilege to be his mentee, but I was not even part. You know the story of Elijah and Elisha. So I mean, that's where I draw my own wealth from. That even if I can't pay my way to the top, I should be able to serve to the top. You know, and then I know, right, up to date, what is still keeping me on that, you know, system is because I'm still serving my way at the top. I'm not there yet. I hope I don't also get to the point where I can serve my way to the top. The money is not everything. Sometimes it just have to do with how well can you serve. You know, even he himself is doing the same thing to his own mentor. So it's a trend I can't stop. So imagine him still doing it to Dr. Cosmos Maduka. And I now sleep and wake up one morning and say, okay, I think the point has come where, you know, Dr. Stephen, I'm really very busy. I can't, no, may that day not come. So yes, what mentorship too we do it too, it's going to put you on that protective mechanism. For instance, you know, entering through the private jets, I always used to fly, right? To be honest, I mean, I'm certain that the amount of time I'm in the air might not even be the same time that doctor is on the air, because doctor is more like very strategic time he flies, so it's more like he's going to a place coming back. But me, anything can just make me fly, right? And then travel from one place to the other. But the very first time at a PG hangar, and nobody was asking me, you know, when you're traveling, and currently we are traveling to these days, move to this for your body. But we just got there with the school bag, And then they will ask you, so what would you like to have? What would you think? So this is how their lifestyle is. And I could see small kids like just entering into the private jet and then, you know, coming down, looking all rosy, all nice. I'm like, wow. I mean, it's not easy getting to that point. A lot of things I've learned from him, and I've had so many things I can't even share. Right? That he has told me, and I'm like, oof. And he said something, you also go through these things. I'm like, oh boy. So in business, I have to go through all these things to, you know, get to where I am today. And there was something that I said, you know, said yesterday, which I would say is, don't stop dreaming. The world will adjust to your dream. Yeah. That's my word yesterday. So.
I love that.
Thank you, sir.
You can clap for me. But one of the things I wanted to bring out of that conversation is that it's not just what you learn, it's where you learn. Right? There were some things I've been saying to him, but inside that private jet, it sank in a different way. You know what I'm saying? Right? So there's a conversation that in Nairobi, I promise you, will enter better. In Singapore, it's entered better. I have learned it through my life as well. That's why I'm not just, you know, there are some things I've learned in the course of doing business, but going to Harvard, it's entered in a different way. So it's not just what you learn, it's where you learn. Don't forget that you need to write it down, It's not just what you learn, it's where you learn it. Right? And the second one he just mentioned is don't stop dreaming, and the universe will adjust to your dream. Right? And it's those who stop dreaming that ultimately, so sometimes, you know, it's not easy. Well, it's because you stop dreaming. Right? So, oh, but I dreamt, it didn't work. Well, it's because you stop. If you keep dreaming, a time will come, the universe has no choice. I'm a testimony of that statement. Testimony. I've been coming to London for over 10 years now. And people always ask me, have you been to the House of Lords? I'm like, no. You know. And yesterday was my first time in the House of Lords. I used to receive an award. There are more things I will be doing going forward that you can and reason being that I've realized that I've put too much things out there, and it has created an unnecessary jealousy. You know, I remember my mentor read my book, and he was like, Stephen, you put too much things out there. And then he said to me, do you know, I can't tell anybody how big this land behind you is. Can't put it out, because they will riot. Right? So there are some things you should have put in that book, because you also need to understand your people. Yeah. How people can be extremely envious. Yeah. I've gone through intense attack this year. Right, only to discover last month that Akintayo was sponsoring everything. Paying bloggers, writing petitions. A cool business guy. Well, I'm not even close to what I don't even think I'm supposed to be. A competition. Yeah. So, welcome to why we always kill ourselves in Africa. Unfortunately, some people believe those things too. Right? You know, some customers, they even panicked and, you know, worried. Some people even didn't believe I would survive an attack that came on my brand in April. Some people really felt this guy is done for. Right, so there are some things I won't share, but yeah, it will be in the news, by the way. It's already even trending, because Tinubu was among the OTs, a couple of entrepreneurs in the UK, and all of that. Thank you. Thank you.
information was there.
You can.
I was there.
So, but we, there are some things that I will still put it out there, by the way, but some things now will be done. You hear about after it is done, right? You know, because, that's better. You know, so one is just, I'm learning a few things about, because you think, what I'm learning now is that don't think everybody's like you, right? That in my over 17 years of running a registered business, I have never in my life, right, attempted to bring down anybody's business. Never. Not even competitors. I've had people come to me and say, well, I want to buy, I'm thinking of either buying from you or buying from the other party, right? I have an opportunity to say, well, don't buy from them, you don't hear from me. So what is your choice? This who we are, this is what we're providing, but if you think the other party is okay, I wish you all the best. And it's not as if I don't know information, I can say, no, that other person, let me tell you, this is what they won't say. Even those who work with us, they know it's a law. You can never, work for me, and then you are speaking even of another business. They know that all of our competitors. I do seminars, and people sometimes will not mention competitors, and I say, no, we don't do that. Negatively, I say it is. You can mention that you did business with a company, but you cannot mention. Right in my seminar. Unfortunately, I then am expecting others to be like me. Right? That the fact that I didn't sow that, I shouldn't reap that. You can see how naive I've been, eh? So the fact that I didn't sow that doesn't mean I won't. And I think it's the Christian version of part of me that is just behaving like that. So I'm learning over time that you don't, in the marketplace, people can be very vicious. And so don't just think that, Even funny enough, do you know why I wrote that book? Until my mentor read it and said, no. It was also out of jealousy.
What's the title of the book?
It's my latest books on real estate, right? ABC of real estate in America. Because I just realized people were extremely jealous. Like, how did he come from Nigeria and then Dubai and then now he's in US and he's doing this kind of, right? So for me, it was just like, Kole, these are the steps, Abi. I didn't even know that got them even more angry. So, but the beautiful thing about when you do the right thing is that they're just helping you. Right? This is the best year in the history of our company. Best year. I thought someone would clap at that point. Best year. Right? Worldwide. Like, the growth is humbling. The more they attack, the bigger we kept getting. So, and the word my spiritual mentor uses that, and it's shocking, but it's true, right? That opposition is a proof of your strong position, right? And in the midst of heavy attacks is when you will grow. And the same thing, actually, when you really look at it, Elon Musk, between that time he was to crash, that Trump had to bail him out, right? And now, who agrees with me? There are two different Elon Musks. In fact, it was after that time he became the richest man in the world. Who remembers? Yeah. Right? So, if you understand how the universe works, is that the season of attack is the season of growth. Right? You just need to understand it. And I think one of the things I've learned to now start doing, because before now, you won't see me talk about this in my training. But now I'm also learning that you also need to train those who believe in you to be prepared for those attacks. Am I making sense at all? Right? Because if they don't, they will just be wondering, but why is everybody talking like this about this person. Do you see the point now? But you didn't train them to know that this is normal, right? Exactly. And it's also our church mindset that is part of our problem. Our church mindset tells us that anytime we face an opposition, it's maybe because we are not doing the right thing.
It's the enemy.
Is the enemy? Is that your?
Not bring enough.
It's when the Lord stretches you.
Exactly.
The train is your school.
Yeah, and sometimes we're wondering, which Bible are we reading? Is it Joseph? Is it Abraham? Is it Isaac? Dog where? They covered the dog and Isaac sold. What? I mean, like, sometimes do we read our Bibles well? Right? And then there was famine in Canaan, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then Abraham went to Egypt, isn't it? And he wanted to collect his wife on top. I said, my cousin. In the midst of that crisis, what happened? And Abraham left Egypt with cattle, with silver, because the king had to, when he realized what he did, had to bribe the guy, and say, please, oh. So, it's like, some of us, the way the religious leaders have cooked up some of our, we just, once I'm facing attack, God is not there. That's not true. Right there. Exactly. Because
Job is another.
Job is another. Because you need. Thank you. Job is the perfect one.
My son goes, Mom, it was good that caused it. I said, I know.
Right? Because the devil was gingerly going, I don't know. The devil didn't raise Job matter. It was God. I say, devil, have power. Just see my guy. See my So, are we learning at all? Yes. So a lot of times, some of us have been wired like that, and so, but if we look at it, and now I'm realizing that, but this thing is true. When I started following Bishop Oyedepo, my first critic was my biological father. So all this Shokoraba people are following. The first person I'm telling you that discouraged me about following Bishop Oyedepo was my biological father. And guess what happened? 5 years ago or so, he then followed me to Canaan land. Can I tell you what he said? So, I love Bishop Oyedepo. I listen to his message.
Change your mind.
I'm like, obviously he has forgotten. He had forgotten that he discouraged me. He had forgotten. So, and I love his messages. I'm like, Right? Same thing with my father-in-law. I hope you know my father-in-law literally was against my wife marrying me. Right? And will not speak to her for over 5 years. Right? Yeah. Because we had to go on. Every other family member agreed. So we went on with the wedding. And that got him even more angry. Right? And my father-in-law died last year. And before he died, my last birthday, he was the first person to arrive.
Wow.
Right? And you could see the joy. Was just asking, who is this person? The wife of this, who is this person? You could see the joy. All he wanted was that his daughter should marry a successful person. Unfortunately, as at the time I came,
You were on your way.
but it even looked like however, his conversation with her is that he said, but this guy is not responsible. He cannot take care of him. Because then he asked me, what business? He said, what do you do? In those days, if you have a job, there's hope. Right? But when you say you are running business, okay, what business? I say digital marketing. He's never heard of digital marketing. He's like saying that, what's your job? I post on social media. Now it's easier. I mean, content creator are making money now, but it's like you're saying content creator 5 years ago. They're like, so you're just surfing the internet and that's the job. Right? So everything didn't make sense. He then started asking for my relative. There was nobody notable. right? No notable one person that you can say, okay, oh, okay, at least there's this person. And you know, in Yoruba culture now, you in your mind you are handing your daughter over to the family. Okay, if anything goes wrong, oh, there's this notable person that you can at least go and report. No, nobody. They say, this one is not responsible. This one can't take care of it, right? But at the end of the day, I mean, during our 10th year anniversary, we invited him. I was happy. My adopted mother, she was so, said, well, we remember that day because we went to beg him. Even after the wedding, we had our first child. He was still vehemently like, he won't even carry, and my child is his first grandson. I laid down on the floor for hours begging. He won't. So my adopted mother had to raise it. We remember that day. Because this was in Banana Island, we were doing 10-year anniversary. He was happy to come and, show off my in-laws. So my daughter said, we remember that day we came. Mama, miss, lie down. Me too, I knelt, I beg, I want daddy. We're now all waiting for a session to talk. It was not the last person. And I said, well, where I did wrong, God, mark it right. Yeah, God, mark it right. So we give God all the glory. But I said, all these elders, the apology, they apologize. Well, let's just say that's the only apology I got. But we thank God today, right? So it's a lesson I'm learning now to share with people that, hey, that you believe someone, that you're following someone, doesn't mean that anybody you're talking to will say good things about them. You'll be shocked that people will tell you all manner, and you'll be wondering whether it's the same person you've met or is another version, right? And what you notice in many of those conversations is always them say, right? This person said, I heard that one said, this one said, I remember I was doing a tour of Canada, and my team were just at some point frustrated because at some point someone would just come up and just be making all manner of allegations and all of that against my brand. So I then told the coordinator, I said, you know what, the next time somebody makes such, just tell the person, how much is involved, I'm willing to pay. Right? So he then did it to somebody who was just do that, oh, she did some job for our company, they're owing her this and that. So the person just said, well, so how much is it I'm willing to pay? You know the reply? Say $100. Everybody in the group says, wait. I said, wait, I can't remember. So when he told me, I said, but I told you. Right? If you have not challenged to say, how much is it? I'm willing to. I'm going to offset it. Right? The way this person had gone about this story, right? You will have thought, trust is a lie. Sometimes people just want to, it's something of pride to say, well, Dangote, which stupid Dangote, he's owing me money now. It kind of make you feel like, it makes you feel like you are somebody important. That the old Dangote is owing you. I used to say people do that with the banks. Say, use UBA. UBA is they are all scammers. It's only when you say, I lost my money ATM. And I say, how much? He said, the ATM swallow my money. He said, how much? I say, 5,000 there. But most of us don't get to the part of how much exactly did UBA ATMs swallow. We don't ask to that point. We just also join and say, yeah, it's that bank. Or, have we learned something today?
Yes, definitely.
So I'm willing to take your questions and we take pictures and we'll wrap up. But have you gotten value?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. So any question? Yes, sir.
Sir, thank you very much, sir. My question is not necessarily about AI per se. It's just about life experience in general. And it's a personal question. How did you effectively remain patient throughout those years? Basically, like you said, from the start to now, and keep focused. Because a lot of times you face challenges, even through those trying times. But how do you maintain focus?
Very good question. Very, very good question. I think two answers I have. Number one, I really didn't have a choice. Sometimes when I tell my story, I wish I can make it look sweet, but I really didn't have a choice. I'd printed 100 CV, tried to look for a job, right? I remember my CV had a cover letter that said, don't pay me salary for 6 months until I prove myself. And the first place said they don't have table and chair to give for me to sit. That's by saying, don't pay me for 6 months, right? The third place, the person was honest with me and said, there's no job, right? So you've tried business on campus, just start it. And that was the last place I dropped my CV. So job wasn't an option. I think the problem many of us have is that we have too many options. There's an uncle somewhere. There is a few jobs waiting for you, right? And that just affects our ability to be focused, right? I was on the ground. There was nowhere up. I was just sharing this with Son of the Prophet. I said, you are aware that whether it's Obasanjo, whether it's Customs Maduka, whether it's Bishop Oyedepo, it was in the last 5 years that I intentionally got close, about Michael Kiro, who is the chairman of our land business. It was in the last 5 years that I intentionally saw that, the way you are rising, you really need to get some powerful people on your side, right? And it was then easy at that point because those people could research my result at that point and say, yes, this is a worthy guy, to back. Okay. And so I was sharing with him. I said, I never had this opportunity. This is your first time in London. And, the quality of people I've had to introduce him to, the exposure, right, that he's had to get. I said, nobody gave me this. Nobody. Right. So, but that also was a blessing because he then made me to say, hey, there's nowhere else. There's nobody else. My mother, that was my rock, was dead as well. Let's just have to face this thing and move on. Right. So it's a blessing and a curse, but it helped me to be focused because I just didn't have an alternative. So I think the same thing you want to do, even if you have an alternative, you can bond those alternatives and say, I'm convinced this is the path I'm going to just stick to it. Right? But having all those various options is sometimes the problem because your brain is saying, must I do this? Right? Maybe I should go this route. But some of us, we just didn't have, it's either it works or it works. No other alternative. Yes. You're welcome. Yes, ma'am. If you want to clap, please. Don't be scared to clap. Yeah.
Having shared a bit of your story, what advice would you have given to your 20-year-old self?
My advice would be calm down. You're on the right track. Right. My biggest problem going on, and that's why you see me emphasize mentorship. I so emphasize the conversation about mentorship that sometimes people think there's something in it, as it were, other than that I was just giving an advice. And the reason is because people don't understand the speed that you get having a mentor. They don't just, it's like magical, right? And the best way to put it is Son of the Prophet you are saying here was mimicking Bishop Oyedepo for the last 6 years or something, has the best impression of Bishop Oyedepo, right? And 1 year ago, he was under pressure and he too was convinced that he's not sure this is the right path to keep going, right? It has served its cause. And, called me and encouraged him and said, look, whatever is the next step, I'm going to be there for you. Now, in 1 year, he has seen and touched money that he has not touched in how many years did you impress? 7 years of, impersonating Bishop, right? Or making his impression. Sorry, I said impersonation, of doing impression of Bishop. He has not made that one. Now, if you multiply that 7 years by another 7, or what he has seen in 1 year, he still didn't do it in 7 years, largely due to the fact that he had somebody to hold his hands. You see what I'm talking about? So now all his friends are like, this growth, this speed, right? And even for him, sometimes, like he was sharing with me today, sometimes also questioning that, I hope there's nothing in it. Why is Dr. Stevens this thing is too good to be true? And that's what I can't blame him, because sometimes I'm also with Bishop Oyedepo, but it's easier for me because I've been under Bishop Oyedepo for 22 years. But the level of love, I'm like, man, this is so unreal. But also the level of growth, having people like that in your life. Am I making sense at all? So don't underrate that. Don't joke with it, right? I think that is oftentimes what I lacked when I was 20. And that's why I would tell myself, number one, you're on the right track, but get mentors who can convince you that you're on the right track. Because my biggest frustration was not being sure I was doing the right thing, right? And so you kind of worry so much about, I'm not sure I'm on the right track. I'm not sure. And that's what I no longer have problem with now, right? The level of sometimes like, you're so audacious, you're so bold. The reason is because the quality of people who say, Stephen, you're on the right track, keep going, right? You're like, if this person is here. I remember when I was to do our US expansion, and I was worried, I need to raise $200 million. I've never raised that kind of money. So what if it all fail? That's the kind of money it's difficult to recover from. If you lose 200 million of people's money, you're in trouble, right? And you come out of that one easily, right? And discussing one of my mentors, and I believe he knew I was scared. And he then told me of an investment I did in another country from Nigeria, one African country, very risky, and how much he put in and how the project moved from, it was first 120 million, and now the project is over $1 billion. Now, this is a risky African country. Me, I'm trying to expand in US. You can see the correlation. I left that meeting saying we do it.
Amen.
Right? So that's the edge now, which I didn't have when I was 20. Because you're just, you're just doing it and you're not really sure whether it's the right thing or not. I hope I've answered that.
Thank you. And I ask that on behalf of my son, who is an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And he's really doing the best he can do. So I'll take that back to him.
Yeah. Get him a mentor. I tell parents, just get your children to, if you can help them. Sometimes they're able to figure it out, like in the case of Son of the Prophet, figure out his mentor by himself. But if they're not able to figure it out, you can help guide that journey, right? I sometimes feel Son of the Prophets. The last time I saw the mom, on his way to the UK as well, the mom called me and was just praying, right? I sometimes feel the mom appreciates me more than he does, right? And I think I've helped a lot of young people, but I give a lot of kudos to Son of the Prophet's mom, right? And I could see why it turned out well. I have taken a 22-year-old girl, to run our business in Dubai. started paying her huge salaries in Dubai currency, that she was able to start sending 50,000 naira every month to her father as just stipends. And she helped the mom turn her life around. Not once did the parent call me. The only time the parent called was when she woke up one day and said she was leaving against the company's term that she signed. She signed a bond of 5 years and a termination of minimum notice of 6 months. Right? And the mom was calling the office to say, well, my daughter has to go. She's stagnated. Right? I mean, some things some of us have seen, we will never help anybody in our life again. Right? But hey, you just have to keep telling yourself you didn't do it for man anyway. Right? It's the right thing to do, and you're convinced, and you just keep moving. Right. Yes, sir.
My first question is, are you planning to run AI courses?
Absolutely, yes.
When does it start?
We're still looking at it. Most likely next year. For me, I don't rush to monetization. Some of the things people don't know. When I was trending negatively for charging $18,000, people don't know that if you really are close to me, you know that everything is not money with me, right? But when it's now money, I charge well, and I promise you it's life-changing, right? Because none of those people who paid that 18,000 has ever complained. Not one. Not one. I don't care what you see online. Not one has ever complained. In fact, most of them, their life has so transformed. Right? I knew one that when he joined that coaching program, he had 17 staff. I think I posted the video recently. I went back to his office just in less than 2 years after the mentorship. He now has almost 300 staff. Now does about $1 billion every month, from doing less than 30 million every month when he met me. So these are the kind of ridiculous results, right? And then somebody sits somewhere and is throwing arrow, attacking over something that, first of all, you didn't pay, you can't pay, they didn't force you to pay. Why are you attacking the person? Right? So I always don't rush into charging. It's more of we test, we train, we listen to the participant. Are you getting value? Then what if we then add more than what we're just giving you for free? And then will you be willing to pay and things like that? So
the second question is, how can we know, because of the sort of overload of information on AI itself currently, then my question is, how can we know exactly where to start learning, right? Without self-taught, because self-taught is okay, but for me personally, I don't have that time to then begin to figure things out. I rather prefer to be in a class and somebody guides me. This is how to go about it. This is what you need to learn, and teach me what it is, rather than me going on the internet or asking ChatGPT and then it takes me to some tutorial and then I begin to learn that tutorial and all that.
Well, good question. I think there are a lot of beautiful courses out there. It's just a function of how much you can afford. A lot of AI trainers, who do practical sessions. I think sometimes you may just say, I want to go for a practical session, right? And if you're doing that, then you must be ready to go to your laptop, be able to subscribe to some of these tools and, just do something really practical. But there's a lot of, the same way you can just, okay, I'm in the UK, I need an AI practical course, that a live practical course. I'm sure there will be a lot that will pop up and you can go for that and you start the journey. But to be honest with you, you will still have to test it, because even if you still go to a practical class, you still have to go back home and still try it yourself and like I said, because it's an evolving world. You can come to a class today and we're showing you this version of ChatGPT, right? And then by the time you get home, ChatGPT has updated. There's a whole lot changes that's come up. So it's still in a phase where things are just evolving, and you just have to be open to that reality that every day we keep learning. Yes, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yeah, so my name is Chef Wine. I have two things. Number one is appreciation, and number two are my two questions. So it happened that while I was in South Africa, as the General Secretary for Nigerian Students South Africa, so I have been following you like long before I went to South Africa for my master's. But so when I became the General Secretary there, I was the one that when I saw that you were doing African tour on your The Billionaire Habits book. Yeah, so I was the one that facilitated the idea of you coming to speak with the Nigerian students in South Africa. So, and then, so that was the one that facilitated the idea of you coming to speak. In fact, I was the one that sent me to your assistant, and then Razak and the other guy came to meet you in the airport. So, that session was one of the 3 events that I organized for the Nigerian student, and that was the first one. Thank you. I've not had the opportunity to meet you too. I appreciate you for that. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So my first question is that if we are divided.
So you relocated from South Africa to UK now?
Yes, I came last year. Yeah, May or something. So, yeah,
you're welcome.
I came after my program in South Africa. Yeah, so my first question is that if we are designing business that it's global, or the original idea is Nigerian or African business model, and it is online driven. Now that we understand that AI does not have that full or original data integration of African Afrocentric data, so how do we do it in such a way that it is integratable, such a way that when you are designing that model, you are able to get not just generic responses, but original data that will be able to help the business run very smoothly.
You have to come up with your own data. I think that's what we talked about, right? That you have to create your own data. If there's anything about AI and Africa, is that you have to come up. I'll give you an example. Let's say you want an AI that will tell African stories. Does that make sense at all? Yeah. You have to be willing to get the raw African stories and feed the AI with it. Yes, you get the point now. Because you might not just be easily get accurate African stories online. You see my point? So yeah, and that's where we are, and that's part of the business model. I'm saying that this is where the money really is, because I can decide to say, you know what, I want to come up with an AI that gives you raw, live Nigerian African stories, right? For Igbos, for Yoruba, and then I start that database and I start feeding my own AI app with that. Right, and it grows to become an authentic, platform to get African stories. And you can imagine how you can get API of your 3 and all of those things, right? And it then creates real imaginary version of those tales. Like imagine tales of how Oyo Empire was born. Imagine tales of this bad guy. What's his name? Lisa B. Imagine all those kind of tales, and because you have the core, raw, authentic story, you feed it with your AI, and then is able to then create that narration. Oga, do you think Netflix will not, and Disney and all of them will not be fighting to buy it from you? Because they don't have that data. They don't have that story. You see where I'm going now? And they don't have that. So you have come up with that now. You've added to that world, and that's multi-billion. I just give you a multi-billion-dollar idea right there.
Thank you so much. So,
you're welcome.
Second question. Oh, okay. The second question is all of these cyber-based places. So, what do you advise for cybersecurity part of all of this? Because we probably might build businesses that are as high as heaven, and it does lead to cyber security glitch will crumble them. So, on the side, do you do platforms, that talks about cybersecurity, or how do you guide yourself, in terms of cybersecurity as an advice?
I think you are getting ahead of yourself. First of all, you need to build the business first. That any cybersecurity will be. Sometimes we get too ahead of ourselves, so bothered about is and you will see this with a lot of Africans, right? Who are those who are scared of ATM fraud the most? But not just Africans who don't really have money. I don't know whether you get my point. I have ATMs that has over $100,000 in it, and sometimes I give my executive assistant to help me withdraw money. Right? Because I also know how to really get. If anybody messes with me, I can pick up a fight with you anywhere in the world. I don't even need to have been to that country before. Right? But it's a poor man that doesn't even have it. $500 in the ATM. If let's say drop his ATM here, so don't become, yeah, I don't want them to scam me. You can't tell. You see, so there are some things that we bother ourselves on that really don't really need to get to bother ourselves on those things yet. Because, for example, there are a lot of cybersecurity consulting firms out there. There are a whole lot of things to keep track on what's going on. It's easy right now to even keep track on anybody. In fact, you can do it so that if anybody is targeting your name for evil, you can know who they are. Right? If you make a comment on my post now, right, there are people that I have at my disposal that it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter what IP you fake, they will fish you out. And where you are and where you live and your address, and that the day I send you, you will pass out. How much info on you I have. Right? So, but there are consultants who do all of that. But you need to get there, because it's when you get there, you also will be able to afford such people. So why waste your time thinking about something? Build something first. Right? And I think that's really what we should focus on. Sometimes analysis that leads to paralysis are just not worth it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to help you with
Go ahead.
the data you're talking about. Is it what type of data? People's data, office data, what type of data? Can you be a bit more specific, please?
Yeah, so I was generic because basically business data.
Yeah, okay. So something like that. What I usually do, you can go to companies and ask them for their data. But then you now have to build the bridge between GDPR, yeah.
Yeah.
So if I get some data, I work for a fintech company and we needed data. The government needed data. So what we did, we have an incentive, and we pay people £5 to use them to collect their data. It's a iGaming company, so we allow them to make payments. I mean, we pay them £5 to play the games, and then we get the data like that. And then we collect the data, and then we have data. But then you have to go to different companies, or you ask the public, and then give them an incentive, like a voucher, for them to make, so that's another way. So you can go to businesses and ask them for their data, but again.
But I think his concern is even the security part. It's not even to get the data, which is what I was saying, that I don't think he should bother himself yet, because when he gets there, there are consulting firms that their job, right, is to then help you, secure and all of those things, right? But if you haven't even gotten there and you're bothered about something, you haven't even gotten to that stage.
And also, the security part, the security part is probably just the security as a design part of business, not what's it called now? Not a sophisticated security, but probably identity management, not releasing a lot of information, or just the ones that people can still manage like on that way. And before they go into this, what are the simple precautions, not involving the security giants. That's the part that was
Again,
okay.
Yes, go on.
Yeah, I just want to kind of contribute if
Please go on.
I think what's important with something like that is first of all, you need to understand the context of your organization. If you understand the context of the organization, then you'll probably be able to do some level of risk assessment and know what fits this organization. So there really can't be a one solution fits all. In this case that you're talking about, if you're talking about security of the business in terms of business data, that's completely different from securing data or securing customer data and all that. But if you do a risk assessment within the context of your organization, you'll be able to figure it out. I don't think anybody can answer this question because there's no
And just like Dr. said earlier, you can't get an answer for what you haven't started. You need to start it off. Like the organization I work for, every day they come out with new ideas to protect people's data. Sometimes we have some sort of advice this week, next week we come up with something else because they learn more every day. So then you can
Exactly. Yeah, cyber security attacks.
They change the equipment
Yeah.
they use. I don't know what prompted that, but sometimes they just come up with something that's okay. Don't use. There was a time we were using Solo Protect, and that's directly to the police. They stopped it. There was they changed things.
That's okay. And to be honest, nowadays, I think part of what we all need to learn to do is to be careful what some of us are just careless about what, we just put out there. You can build your life in such a way that even if you hack me, really, there's nothing, because we can't, we still studied this in Harvard and we checked out what was funny, one of the case studies we did was a cybersecurity company that was still hack. A company that a company who is in charge of protecting other people who end up being, and you will be shocked to know that it was even one of their staff that made a mistake. It was even a mistake, and it was a basic mistake that even the company they consult for shouldn't have made such. Right? So, unfortunately, of course, they managed it, and we studied this under PR management and all that. So, there is no guarantee these days and age that some things won't happen. But part of what you can do is to make sure that you also have structured your business in such a way that, which is why some of us then get to be subjected to rumors that are now painted to look as if they are real. Right? There's a way they will carry your story that even you step back and say, wait, I need to check, maybe truly, maybe truly something is here, right? And people can, but it's also because it's not easy to really get something really tangible on you. So we have to cook up something, right? Or we have to just twist something that is simple as I'm coaching you, pay this amount, and then you twist it to become something that makes everybody to hate you and then rally people up and get certain things. So but this day and age, my brother, crisis is normal. Get used to it, enjoy it, look at the brighter sides of it, look at how it could be a tool for your growth, for your expansion. But start it first. I think part of my challenge with many of us is we're too bothered about what could be, what can, and when you are the same energy you need to start is the same energy you are using to analyze what may end up never happen, right? But you're too bothered about what if this doesn't work, what if that fail, what if this works? What if so? Just start it. You know what do you lose? Start small, think big, be consistent. An example is this, right? We have hundreds of people who are interested in this. Things happen, right? One can focus on, oh, why did this person make that mistake that led to this mistake that messed up being able to get the big haul. But focus on what matters the most. Still do it, because this man came all the way from Ireland, right? For this, right? Somebody came from Liverpool, right? Where's the person who came from Liverpool? Right? He came from Liverpool for this, right? So what matters is you still do it no matter how small. Figure a way, stream it so that those you couldn't accept to come physically can still watch it. Still end up sending this to everybody who registered so they can still have, but don't beat yourself over, exactly what you don't have control over, right? And I think that's how entrepreneurship needs to be. Because if you notice, some of the people who are most critical in every organization are the least productive people. if you've noticed, like you work in a company, the people who complain the most are the ones who are less productive. The most productive ones are too busy trying to get the job done to even notice what is done right, what wasn't done right, and the same thing is what's happening on social media today. You just check those giving you negative attacks and comments. You will notice that they're 18-year-old, jobless, or people who don't have, they're the low life people, right? Even if they're in UK or US, they are miserable, jobless. The really successful ones are just even too busy to even have the time, and some of us have gotten to that level that sometimes, we're just too busy to even remember who said this about us, who like us, who doesn't. There's just too much to do. I was still in China a few days ago, jumping here. Tonight, I still have a meeting 9 p.m. today outside of this place. I'm still going for it. When I'll get back here tonight, I don't know. Right, so, there's just too much to do. Right. So let's get back. Let's get to the work. Let's get to the field. Only players are paid, not fans. Right? Yes. You can have a football pitch of 40,000 people. Do you know how many people are being paid there? Right? 22. Then we have coach, referee. Do you see? The people being paid are not up to 1,000, and there are 40,000 people in that state. In fact, they were the ones that even pay. But who is loudest in that stadium? Olori Buruku Ronaldo, kick the ball. Oh, do you mean he missed that? Right? Now put them to. Why didn't we put you in the field if you were that good? If you will not miss that ball. By Nigerians. So the fans are never paid. It's players that are paid. And the funny thing? You can't be a fan and player at the same time. Have you ever done it? Right? You're a fan in the game you are playing. It's not possible. So some of us must be player. Some other people must be spectator and fans. Right? And the energy you are trying to imagine, I'm trying to score a goal. Then a fan is shouting, "Were, were." And I'm not looking at that friend. You too, were. Will I score the goal? It's the same energy I need to focus on scoring the goal that I need to use to be replying. So at some point, just focus on the goal you are trying to score. There's no energy to be saying, he's a fan, that's his job. Right? And the more he's fanning the whole thing, just like blowing breeze on a charcoal with fire, the fire is getting bigger. So they're just helping your business. That's it. Okay? Thank you all for coming, really. Okay, one more.
Sorry, just wanted to appreciate what you're doing and maybe share a bit about this as well. So I know followed you a lot, and I appreciate what you're doing, especially in the Black community. Just something I had to emphasize on from what you said is the fact that AI is going to change so many things. A lot of people are going to be spectators at the end of the game. What I encourage people to look at is, where can I use AI in my own space? So I work in the mortgage and property side of things. We've been doing quite a lot with AI in that space. And I just say, if you don't have a space that works, just look for another space and see how you can make money. There is a lot of money to be made in AI. There's a lot of tasks that we don't do manually any longer. We used to do like so many things manually, like you need to check bank accounts and stuff. All of that is now AI driven. We used to do a lot of calls. All of that is done by AI agents. There's so much happening on AI. People are going to miss this chance. And I pray as a community that as you're saying and emphasizing, that people actually take something out of it. They are, just look at your space. Where can I put AI into play? Save me time, test on that, and then be able to then deploy it to other things. So we've done just similar stuff about a book within AI for financial services.
Nice.
We are looking at deploying the same
Is this the
solution.
book?
Yes. I
Nice.
want to give to you.
Thank you very much.
We are looking at deploying the same thing that
Demystifying.
has worked for us within financial services and put it to other places.
Is it on
as
Amazon?
well. Yeah, it's on Amazon and stuff. So just be much more encouraged than just thinking this is another phase. It's, I don't know how to say it, but it's so big, and you can just take baby steps based on where you are. There's just so much. Just take those steps. ChatGPT using just for question, you're 2,000 years behind. You need to start thinking about, how can I put so many integration into place? Zapier, all of those things are now connected to each other. So I just want to encourage everybody, you can't be here by chance if you don't do something. As I said, 5 years. 5 years in the AI world is like
100 years.
30 days. So many changes are coming in. So if you're following AI, there's so many things. There's so many things within ChatGPT as well that you could do. I know you asked a question, but a lot of companies now worried about cybersecurity and stuff. There's a closed loop AI that each company are still testing within their framework. So it's not exposed to outside. So that security is taken care of. So there's just so many things that AI will do by itself that you don't need to worry too much about the negative stuff. There will be negative, obviously. Operations will go wrong. But from that, it would learn and make things work. So I just encourage everybody, like, just today should not be something that you forget forever. Just take that opportunity. There is a lot of money. You talked about small businesses. A lot of small businesses, millions of small businesses in the UK don't even know what to do with AI. If you can deploy an AI that's making calls, AI that is calling back people after missed calls, there's just so many solutions that you don't need to build the AI yourself. AI has already been built. You can just rebrand. We've talked about so many ways you could take other people's solution and rebrand and white label and stuff. So just please and please, let's all. I mean, the more we have people like this in the community, the more we have the advantage, because it's a big deal, and this is a leap for Africans. I remember when I started business, used to charge people 300 naira to open email. I was on before Cyber Cafe in Ado-Ekiti and stuff. Now, that's about 2002 and stuff. I know what mobile phone did. I see the same thing now with AI. If you can start now, you would be surprised. So I just thank you for giving the time.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you all for coming, and that's a wrap. So let's take a picture. How do we take a picture? Where do we?
I think we need to clear the chairs. Okay.
God bless you all for watching. Thank you. I hope you got some value. Get started with AI, and wish you all the best, everyone.